Welcome back, Alphas. We finally got a sneak peek of how CIG's devs are going to build us the best damn space sim UI ever, with all kinds of screens within our screens to interact with. Let's talk about it, so hold position. Inside Star Citizen revealed how CIG can use their new homebrew tool, Building Blocks, to create a more polished, interactive, and immersive game for us, all while having positive implications for the company's productivity and revenue. And we're seeing progress toward cleaning up our HUDs. Building Blocks is the replacement for CIG's UI building tools that we've been fed for years. And when you picture the monitors of the future, I doubt they look like the MFDs we have in ships today. I mean, it's really cool how that we can interact with them, yet they could be better. Right now, we have a cluttered HUD, plus the helmet has its own HUD. And without a helmet, you can't see the chat, you can't hear the comms, so we have double the HUDs. Many times, parts of the HUD even overlap each other. As individual devs have made their own game editions with accompanying HUDs, they would, from what I understand, have to load their changes into the game and see how it looked. And if it was okay, they'd roll with it and hand it off to QA. You know, like, I got to get on to my next assignment. It's due in 3 months, quarterly releases. Planning's going to take me weeks alone, so now I'm really pressed for time. Send it off to QA and be done with it. So CIG has evolved their development to help give us a more polished and playable game, with additions that give us more depth to test. And they do it by giving their teams 6 months to work on game updates and features, breaking developments into 6-month cycles rather than the 4 quarterly releases per year. So now we have staggered development with quarterly releases. Yeah, staggered development, quarterly releases. We still get our updates every 3 months. It's just that they had 6 months to work on it, and there's more than one team working at a time. So basically, the team that finished patching up the 3.6 branch, they're going to move on to working on 3.8. Since another team has already been working on getting 3.7 ready for release. It makes sense to me. Anyway, I'm excited to see how it impacts the UI. Until now, CIG has been using Flash-based tools or Scaleform-based ones to create the UI. And from what they say, they were quite difficult to use. I did a quick search, and it revealed this interesting data. Back in 2014, according to Google, the number of people visiting a web page in Chrome with Flash had decreased from 80% in 2014 to about 8% as of 2018. And you may have even noticed a notification on your Chrome browser about Flash being retired in 2020. And since it's being phased out for costs, usability, and security reasons, it's hard to find people who still work with Flash. So CIG started building their own UI tool, Building Blocks. And it helps get UI into the game faster and more efficiently. And with it, they can make changes in-engine on the fly without having to reload the game every single time they change anything. And that's huge. Plus, look how great it looks. Now, obviously, this is a test, right? This is just them putting together something to show us kind of behind the scenes what they're working on and how Building Blocks can easily make these new assets for in-game. So as you can see, a lot of these are just placeholders. But what's cool about it is how they can just take new assets as they're added to the libraries and just throw them in. For example, from what they said on Inside Star Citizen, this will be one of the first additions we'll see. It's planned for 3.8 as the Annunciator panels. We can also expect to see work on vehicle HUDs, as version 4 is also planned for 3.8 to help support managing scan results. With Building Blocks, devs can create the UI, they can fluidly adjust the dimensions, the screen size in-game, the layout, they can drop in icons, they can swap them out. They can even shape the UI into something completely different looking, all on the fly, without having to re-export and reload the editor each time. We may even see some radial menus like this test UI seen here. Maybe we'll hold down F and something like that pops up. They could create one screen, for example, and then they could copy that screen all around the verse, yet in different sizes using building blocks, like a commodity tracker on a wall versus the side of a building. Think of the possibilities. If they can make the TDD terminals look that much better, then think about what they can do for our MFDs in game. Maybe this is how we can get those configurable presets for our ships, the ones they had told us about before the new flight model back at CitizenCon last year. And then we'll have the ability to quick swap from, say, a travel power configuration to a combat profile, that brings the weapons back online, overclocks them, all with a quick click or a keybind. I think the richness building blocks can bring to the game development experience should really help us to see completely overhauled MFDs and trading consoles coming up in the near future. I'd say within the next year is just my guess. Though, side note, I do want the trade consoles at Grimhex to stay the same as they are now, even if they have to redo them with building blocks. So please, CIG, keep that success animation at Grimhex. It's amazing. The UI team can basically grab icons from a file folder of goodies, a library that's growing as artists drop in more assets. Then the devs could arrange those assets however they want on the fly, in engine with no load times, just creating what they feel screens would look like in the future, with whatever inspiration they bring from their favorite sci-fi shows, without so many limitations. They could play Richie Switch until they get it looking amazing, with several more months to work on each piece that they're wanting to release to us. And the plan is to replace the current interaction mode with the hover options, while holding down F, kind of like when you take an elevator, it shows all the floors. Now, I've heard devs talk about wanting it to be that you just click on the actual button in game, so that way it's more realistic. Hey, how do you think that the game world will feel because of building blocks? Let us know in the chat. When I saw how easily the game devs can crank out new screens, I got excited. I figure we'll get new MFDs, new HUDs, all within the game, and how they can have another team filling up the folders with new assets, like even more creative, new, cool assets for the UI team to play with. I think we're going to get a lot of great stuff over the next year. This tech has far-reaching implications.
You've said that word implication a couple of times. What implication?
If I was a betting man, I'd wager that CR is going to license off all their game building tools once Squadron 42 and the Star Citizen Persistent Universe go live. Tools like this, building blocks, allow devs to focus more on their strengths and then pull upon their creative influences, and that helps them to yield a product that's more closely resembling their imagination without so many constraints. And tools like this could be a huge source of revenue for CIG, which is a good thing, because once this game goes live, we'll want them to be able to keep the lights on, right? Persistent Universe could very well just be advertising for CIG to sell game building toolkits. I don't know. Let me know what you think. But how legit do you think that this building blocks tool is going to make Star Citizen feel? I'm curious to see what new items are added to the game using building blocks with little displays, maybe a tricorder or something cool for medical gameplay. I don't know. Oh, by the way, when I watched them demo this tech on Inside Star Citizen, I couldn't help but hear this in my head. I'm going to leave you with it.
Wait a second. That's it. That's it? Yeah, that's the melody to Funky Town.